Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diplomacy Timing Window, where the rules are discussed and our opinions don't matter. I'm Hungry Hippos.
And I'm the Half-Heard.
On today's episode, we're going to go over the prelim round tournament results, decision-making processes, as antagonizing as they were, and just a general review of how the semifinals are going, and they're going well. Right, Halford?
Yeah, so far we're off to a blazing start, actually. Happy to see everyone just jumping on board, and really excited to see these semifinal games. It's a lot of good competitors, I'd say, for sure. So I think we're going to see some really great games.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's been, I guess the semifinal's been online for about 2 days, and we've
About that,
already
yeah.
have 2 games in round 2 at least.
Mhm.
Just it's a big change from the prelims, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess a few things, right? It's 3-player, just inherently going to be faster, and I think just everyone is excited, and I know people probably are busy with the holidays, but also probably have some spare time right now, right, as we're winding down with work, and people probably have time to dedicate. So
I hope so. I mean, I don't want to spend every waking hour with my family. But so why don't we go over the structure of the semifinals and then start to, I guess, inform people as our decision-making process of how we got to the semifinals that we got.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it came down to kind of three options leading up to our decision, and we I guess, as most people probably have seen, what we decided to do was to stop the game at the prescribed deadline that we set, and we took the first and second place finishes based off of standard tiebreak protocols with Twilight Imperium base rule set.
So for an agenda phase, it was speaker order, and for action phase, it was strategy card order, right?
Action and status phase. Yeah.
It would probably be good to know. Halford did say we stopped at the deadline, but our initial deadline was about a month and a half to 2 months. And once we saw where games were, we decided that we would give it a little bit more, and it ended up being about 2.5 months of game time that we provided for our six-player games. We did also do some things in the background. Halford actually made an Excel tool to help people coordinate time so they can understand when the best times were to play IRL. What was your thought process behind doing that, Halford?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always knew that 2 months for asynchronous play in a 6-player game is ambitious, right? I think we were always expecting competitors to try to organize amongst each other, right? We were pretty we advocated for that pretty often, to try to find times where they can get at least some small, play time together to help push games along. So we tried to give tools to help everyone in that regard as well. A couple of the games, I know there were extenuating circumstances, people having
lives,
things come up, right? life happens, right? And everyone understands
this is just a game.
So yeah, it's just, and then the reason, I guess, behind the original 2-week extension from the original deadline was that just looking and seeing that some of the games were very close to finishing, and we wanted to give them a chance to get across the finish line, which a couple of them did, which I'm happy to see. And then I think we had 2 games, game 1 and game 6, I believe it was, that were pretty close at the second deadline. And so that hurt me a bit, because it's like, it was a tough call to make. I really wanted to give those guys the opportunity to finish, but at the same time, we wanted to keep the tournament moving. And I think to make exceptions, now we're starting to walk a fine line between, drawing a hard line in the sand and giving people, certain groups exceptions. So we did want to avoid that. In the end, I think we kind of chose the lesser evil, right? Because the other options we were considering is, one was to just not have a deadline and just let the games go until they finish.
And if we think about how that'll look, one game will be finished, and I don't know if what some of the listeners are. They kept up to date, but there's a few games that were not.
Yeah,
it didn't look like they were going to finish at all.
Yeah, two of the games specifically at the pace they were going would be a very long time before they finished, right? And again, just respecting people's time, right? We know people signed up for this tournament, knowing a certain time frame, right? We don't want this extending indefinitely, knowing that people's circumstances change. We want to try to wrap this up, right? So we were pretty against going with that solution, that we gave the extension, but at the end of the day, a deadline's a deadline.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that one or two people have lives, but for the most part, I think the decisions that were made were pretty on point. I think we have a good semifinal in front of us, and because of the experience that we had with prelims, and the idea of taking the top two, we chose to have 3-player games to 14 points, because the 3-player at 10 we decided was a little too short. But again, a 3-player is going to take a lot less time than a 6-player, even to 14 points.
Yeah, I think we're trying to learn from the prelim to say, if we're going to have that aggressive deadline, the 3-player should help with that. And as well, there was a lot of, I think it went well. I don't think the top 2 advancing created too much controversy, but it definitely changed the dynamic of how you played the game a bit. So kind of getting rid of that 2nd-player advancing mechanic and going back to the traditional winner-take-all with the semifinals, I think makes sense.
And to add a little spice, we threw in a build map variety.
Yes, I'm happy for that. I think that'll be a cool addition. Well, maybe you'll see less variety in the faction picks with 3-player, which I think you're definitely going to see.
Yes.
But at least that way with the build map, you'll have some variety in the map selection.
Yeah. Do you want to take a look at them?
Yeah. Before we do, I just wanted to mention one more thing. Just talking again about our decision making, is that we did also spend some time kind of analyzing the games to see, did we want to dive deeper, right, and not just go with the top 2 at deadline time, and look at, did someone who wasn't in the top 2 have potential? And it might be the case in some of the games where, if the game's finished, the top 2 advancing wouldn't be the same. But having looked at the 5 games that we're still going, I think generally, if they do finish, you're probably going to see very similar outcomes in the top 2.
I'd agree after looking at them. And you know what? We're on Discord. If you want to have a discussion with us about potentials, happy to do that.
Yeah. And I do hope the games finish, right? I'd like to see them finish. I'd like to see what happens. How much disparity.
The current prelim games that are
the current prelim games
happening. Yeah, it'd be good to maybe prove us wrong, but no,
exactly.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, organically prove us wrong. Yeah. Before we share the semifinal games, I just want to do a quick overview of the current bracket now with the semis, and to go over the advancements.
That's a good idea.
So we had, I guess it was Hunk with some funk and from game 1. Moving on, they were playing Necro and Lizix respectively. We have from game 2, we have Mr. TJ actually got the 10-point win, and Penu, Lidserter, getting that 2nd place finish. In game 3, we didn't finish there, but we had a tie for VPs between Bot and Michael Waller. Game 4 was our first to finish. We had Small Fry Hero. That was the 10-point Joel Nar. And that was the tight game. A lot of everyone at 8 or 9 as well. Kazadoom, our boy there, slipping by with 9 with the Nalu.
Yes.
Into
All right.
into game 5, we had Big Al at 5 points. Moving on, and then in second we had In Hawk Signoffenses. You know, I
In
probably
Hawk Signovinces.
there you go. Derek Turtle Power. You'll see now he's now
He's
Fish Boy
Derek.
Power.
So yeah, Science Fish Boy
Science
Power.
Fish Boy Power. Ramdos. It's second in that group. Game 7, we had Doc Coles. That game finished as well, so Doc got 10 points.
Yes.
He won that game as Hakan. Filomena claiming second place in that one. And then game 8, again, another tie between the top 2 VPs with Hutic and Ubermind.
Nice.
And I guess we should just maybe quickly point out as well that in game 6, technically Be Lazy was the second place finish, but he gave up his spot, you know, citing that he had just some difficulties with commitment for moving forward with the tournament. So Ramdos was third place in that one, and that's where he's moving on.
It was respectful of him to acknowledge that.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yes. All right.
Let's look.
So now that we see the brackets, let's take a look at the maps. So this is game 1 with Hunk with some Funk, Bot, and Kaza. Or no, Penny Lidster. My apologies.
And we'll see a lot of Soul and SAR, I think, coming up.
I like SAR for 3-player. I know the stats don't agree with me, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I was just, you know, thinking that it's an interesting choice because, yeah, looking at the Twilight Wars stats, you know, there's quite a significant amount of games in 3-player, over 100. And SAR is actually below the 33% win rate with 47 games. So, but yeah, maybe in the right hands, you know, they're definitely a powerful faction. And scores right now, we got 2 on SAR, 2 on Soul, 1 on Necro, with Soul, I believe, taking the Mechatol Custodian's point.
While we're thinking about 3-player games, if I see support for the throne in a 3-player game, man, I would just personally not be happy.
Yeah, I think it was brought up in the Discord. Probably the only place you're going to see it is if one player gets off to a blowout lead.
Yes.
The other 2 swapping supports to help catch up, right? You might see that.
I also would like to give a shout out to the naming convention for game 1. Game name.
Game name.
In the title of its game name.
That was not intended. Alas.
Well done. All right. Game 2. We have Ramdas. We have Big Cup Al Pacino. What is it?
Big Al Cappuccino.
Big Al Cappuccino, and again, Kaza. There we go.
Yeah, again, we got SAR and Soul mirroring the last game, but now we got Joel Nar.
Which again, another popular faction.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? 3 pretty big powerhouses. Soul again taking the Imperial point. Soul and Joel Nar at 2, SAR at 1 to start. And pretty aggressive growth all over the map, really. All planets taken, right?
Yeah, that's the build here
pretty
though
impressive.
made Mechatol somewhat empty, somewhat lonely, which
almost
for good
almost
game.
an abandoned Mechatol feel on this one.
Yeah, good call.
Actually, I was looking at the log at this, and it started, I think, right away with a block.
Well, we should all agree SAR deserves to have a supernova there, not the asteroid field.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Game 3 doesn't have a map up yet, so we'll skip to game 4.
Yeah, game 3 is still
which
choosing
is-
factions. So
Yeah.
hopefully
We
see
are
them going soon.
currently building the map in game 4.
Yep.
Looks like wormholes right next to Mechatol, so that's
Very
always
nice.
fun. But again, we
And we
have
got-
as Sol, Michael Wower as Yisrael Tribes, and Mr. TJ as Jolnar.
Cool. That's 3 for 3 soul so far. Very popular in this 3-player game, 3-player
Fun
format.
fact, I think Half-Heard, you told me Yisrael has the best stats for a 3-player game in Twilight Wars.
That's right. They do. They have the highest. They fit the only 50% plus with 44 games win rate in a 3-player.
Some pretty
So,
good stats.
It's pretty good stats. That's them. I like those odds. I'll tell you that.
I wonder if Michael Wower knew that or not. All right.
Either way.
Game 5. Looks like the map is set and they're on to their first
Just
moves.
starting their first round.
Yeah. So we have Nalu as Cornet, sorry. In Hoxine Novinces is Jolnar. And Small Fry Hero as Sar. Again, Jolnar and Sar, super popular.
Yep. And looking at this map, pretty, pretty safe, pretty strong. Everyone's got quite the slice going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say it's a little bit more buying power around Sar by touch.
Yeah. Sar will be happy with just the sheer quantity of planets around him.
Yes. I always like the scavenge ability. All right. And then our final game, game 6. Looks like they're just got their map finished. They're discarding secrets. We have Jolnar again with Derek Science Fish Power. L1 as Hudik, and Sar again, Philomena. And the map build.
Yeah. Pretty safe again, map builds. These guys having lots of systems, planetary systems in their slice.
Yes. Let's see. A lot of influence by Sar, which I think they'll like at the beginning. It allows for greater fleet pool. We'll see.
Great. Yeah. So looking forward to it. I mean, the games are just kind of getting underway, and we'll probably do our next analysis probably in the new year, I would guess at this point.
Holidays are holidays.
Holidays are holidays, and yeah, it'll we'll keep a close eye, see how things develop, and we'll come back with in the new year fresh with updates for each of the games, and I'm sure it's going to be really exciting.
I'm looking forward to it, especially with the what is it, the motivation that I've seen so far.
Definitely. Any final thoughts?
Good luck to everyone, and season's greetings.
Season's greetings to everyone as well.
I think we spent enough time stalling in this timing window, so let's hit the pass button and keep the game moving.